And welcome again to Cottage Talk Full Time. I'm Russ Coleman. Joining me right now is Craig Coben and the Fulham Shadow, Emilio Nello, in full shadow mode. This is our full-time show. Our initial reaction show is Fulham grind out their 2-1 victory against Brighton Hove Albion. Emilio and Craig were both there, and I'm going to get their initial reaction to what I think is an impressive victory, guys. Emilio, the Fulham Shadow, I'm going to go to you first. Give me your initial reaction of what you watched at Craven Cottage tonight.
Hello there, Russ. Hi there, Craig. Yeah, for those who are asking, I'm sat in my car. I'm not driving in my car. I'm sat in the car on
He's
the
in
other
his
side
car.
of Putney Bridge. Just what a very impressive performance. I agree with you, Russ. It was the atmosphere in the ground was immense. Expectations were high. I think we all predicted a Fulham victory. I think between the three of us, and we weren't disappointed. But overall, we set our stall well early on. Good 15-20 minutes spell at the beginning, and then the rest of the first half was a bit sloppy, and both teams cancelled each other out. But second half, it was entertaining. Again, good for the neutral, but we're creating chances. We're scoring goals.
Right.
We're defending well. At times it's desperate defending, but that you have to expect that. But overall, let's not forget we've beaten a team who were joint second in the table, unbeaten, not fallen behind all season, and we go there and deservedly won the game 2-1 tonight. So there should be no qualms. I'd like to see the replay of the penalty against the VAR.
I can talk about that. I was talking to Craig a little bit about that. I got a good view of it. We'll get to that in just a second. But this is something that Craig said to me off air, Emilio, and I want to get your thoughts. I said this. He said the same thing. I think Brighton Hove Albion are a very good side, Emilio. This is probably more impressive than most think. You already talked a little bit about that. I was very impressed with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was disappointed with them first half. I think at the end of the day, they play a very patient. They play a lot of good build-up play. They keep possession well. They try to keep pushing and keep trying to create something. It's a slow pace, but they carve out lots of opportunity, and they're difficult to break down. And the second half, we caused some problems in that second half. And on another day, maybe we should have had another goal or two on the board as well. But then again, so should they. They hit the post. Leno made a good save. So let's not kid ourselves. Brighton are a very organised, well-equipped, well-drilled team, and we beat an unbeaten team 2-1 at home and fully deserved. It was no fluke. It was no luck.
Fluke.
We deservedly won that game. And like you said, Brighton are a good team. I don't think they've got the depth in the squad to continue at the level they're at. But notwithstanding that, we've broken their unbeaten record, and so we should be proud of that.
Absolutely. Craig, over to you. We already talked a little bit about this off air, that you were impressed with what you saw from Brighton, but in the end, it's funny. You and I talked about, we'll talk about this at the end of full time. I think the most impressive thing, you and I agreed on this, is how Fulham ended this match. I cannot remember a time where they managed a match like that. So again, give me your initial reaction, but I'm curious your view on that. Do you agree with me on that?
Look, it is a very impressive victory. Brighton are the informed side in the Premiership. They have good players. They're well organized. They're tactically very flexible, and you saw that in this game where they started with three in the back and they moved to a 4-2-3-1 later on. They were on the ball, and for much of the first half, they actually, I thought, were dominating us. However, we showed that we can win, and we showed also that we can hold on to a lead. And I was particularly impressed with the way we killed off the game in the last 10 minutes. It wasn't just that we had stalling tactics. We fought for the ball. We held up the ball. We controlled the ball, and we kept our heads. And I think it is a really impressive victory. We should talk maybe a little bit about some of the areas where the team is going to have to improve over the course of the season. Some of the areas where I think Brighton exposed us. But at the end of the day, although Brighton probably had much of the better play, especially in the first half, they didn't really create very many chances.
No, they didn't.
Chances. And even the one where they hit the post, I'm told was off. The
it was way offside.
Way offside.
Way offside.
I couldn't see from the Hammersmith end. I also agree with Emilio. The atmosphere in Craven Cottage was electric.
That's great. That's fantastic. You could tell.
And it was amazing. It was amazing to feel. It was amazing to be part of.
Okay. Emilio, I want to share this comment from Fulham legend Rob Wilson. Emilio, put 50p in your meter. up there for a win. So again, thank you, Rob, for
Cheers,
sharing
Rob.
with you. So with you, Emilio. So again, we have a limited amount of time on this show. Just real quick, let's talk about the first half, both of you. Fulham started strong, Emilio, but let's give Brighton Hove Albion credit. They came into it, and maybe you could say that they had the better half, but Fulham were dangerous when they had their opportunities. Let's talk about your thoughts on the first half.
Yeah, I thought we, again, started very brightly, high intensity, first 10, 15 minutes. We're causing them problems. We're winning, we're determined. Mitrovic was chasing, the whole 90 minutes, and Mitrovic was absolutely immense, but he kept chasing down every ball. There was, we just didn't let Brighton settle. They really had, they knew they were coming up for a game tonight, and we showed them at 50 minutes, but then they do what they do best. They sort of grind things out of you. We started to give the ball away cheaply, losing possession, and that plays into Brighton's hands, exactly what they do well. And they started to build from the back, good passing, good patient build-up play, and they're getting into good wide positions. Their left winger looked quite dangerous in that first half, getting some decent crosses into the box, and they did finish stronger in that first half. But again, I think Chris Godwin said it feels like a game of chess. It did feel like that. Right. We counted each other out. It wasn't the most spectacular first half, but you knew that whoever's going to get the first goal was likely to go on and win the game. So I think 0-0 was probably a fair reflection of the first half, to be honest.
I totally agree. Craig, your thoughts?
Look, I thought Brighton had the better of the first half. In the first 10 minutes, I agree. I think Fulham came out very well organized, very energetic. But over time, Brighton started to dominate possession. And in particular, we were struggling to move the ball out of the first third or into the second third of the pitch. And we were losing it quite often. Pereira kept falling down, expecting the foul. He wasn't getting it. I think he lost the ball several times. In the back, they had, it looked like the three in the back, but when they were out of possession, they brought back the left winger, so they had four in the back. But they kept the right winger up, and actually he would tuck in the Solly March. He would tuck in, so they were tactically quite clever, and they seem to always have, our players seem to be isolated many times. They seem to be a ball. And they just seem to be a little bit more on top of us.
It's a well-drilled side, Craig.
Well-drilled. Absolutely. And that's what makes it more impressive. But they never really had a good chance on goal.
No, they didn't.
And I think we were fairly solid in that respect, even if maybe our movement forward wasn't great. Maybe we didn't hold the ball up as well as we could have. Mitro is having to come back come back quite deep in order to make up the numbers and support our attempts to get the ball out. But going into halftime 0-0, I think was actually pretty important because Brighton could have scored, just given the dominance they had, especially I would say kind of from minutes 25 to 45.
I agree, Craig. And listen, I think halftime came at a good time for Fulham to regroup, for Marco Silva to talk to the players at halftime. And guys, I'm actually, as we talk about the second half, we're going to talk about the key moments. I just want to mention this. I'm going to dedicate this episode to Scott Parker. And the reason why I'm doing this, again, Scott Parker got sacked today. Best of luck to Scott Parker in his future ventures. I don't wish him any ill will. But because Scott Parker had a falling out with Fulham, and you could say it was mutual, or you could say one way or another, it opened up the opportunity for Marco Silva to come and also unleash Alexander Mitrovic, because Alexander Mitrovic did not play like this under Parker. It did not fit under Parker. Well, now we're seeing Alexander Mitrovic, Emilio, play at a high level. So now let's go to the second half and let's talk about the goal from Mitro. And again, can we end the argument that he can be a scorer in the Premier League? Can we just end that argument? He scores in the 48th minute, Emilio. Your thoughts on the opener for Mitro?
Yeah, and again, I've got the video, took it live on video, so I'll send it to you afterwards, Russ. So actually the build up to the goal, but it all started off with a free kick from Pereira. It was just a nothing free kick. I thought, that was a lofted ball. It was easily dealt with by Brighton. Then, we got, I think the ball went a little bit loose just outside the penalty area, and I think Cabana got the ball, and he just squared it through into the danger area. That's all I can recall. They poor Pereira free kick. Yep. They comfortably dealt with it. It went, I think, was it Harrison Reed who passed it over to Cabana? I think it was.
Yes.
and then
Yep.
Cabana squared it into the danger area, and you've always got a chance. Then the big man was there lurking and just tucked it in, very confidently. A different man, under Silva compared to
Unbelievable.
Barker. To be honest, this man was
Unbelievable.
defending and attacking for 90 minutes. The man did not stop all night. He covered every blade
That's
of
a
grass.
great point, Emilio.
He just
Fantastic
didn't
point.
stop. The energy levels, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, this man would have been out of breath, having arguments with other players, trying to get himself yellow carded. This is a man with confidence, scoring goals, creating chances, creating a threat every time he's in the penalty area, and defending for his life as well. So again, what more do you want from this man?
And dribbling past the Brighton players.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
He looked like Ronaldinho sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm glad that you guys are talking about this, because one thing that stood out to me is the work rate from the entire team. The work rate was incredible. Bobby Decordova-Reid working his socks off. Harrison Reed everywhere. They were all working their socks off. And it just shows what they can do when they play together as a team. And let's give Silva, Boa, and the entire coaching staff credit, because he's putting them into positions to succeed and win. And that's what we're seeing here. If they give the effort, the game plan works, and they execute it, they have a chance to win, and they proved that tonight. Craig, over to you. Let's talk about the own goal from a player Fulham we're linked to for a very long period of time, Lewis Dunk. So thank you, Lewis Dunk, for actually scoring for Fulham. We really appreciate that. You never came to Fulham, but thank you for the own goal.
Yeah, it came out of it came out of nothing. I think Mitro won the ball.
That's right.
Actually, Mitro won the ball at one end, and then there was a cross from was it Cabano again, and he just turned it in. Or was it Paulinho? And he turned it in. Look, it was a bit of a fluke goal, but this is what happens when you put them under pressure.
Exactly.
And you have to say that by that time the game was starting to become a lot more stretched. Brighton were having to commit more men forward, and so as a result, there were opportunities at the other end. So although the own goal was a bit fortuitous, on the other hand, he was under pressure, Lewis Dunk, and that's the kind of mistake that players make when they're under pressure. And what I would say again is the fact that you had Mitro winning the ball at the opposite of the, quite indicative to start the whole move. The man worked so hard throughout the match. He is the James Brown of Fulham Football Club.
I love that.
Football.
I love that. That's fantastic. All right, Emilio, you actually went no shadow for a couple seconds, and I think that's kind of pivotal for us talking about what happened next, okay? So let's talk about it. Only a few minutes later, Brighton Hove Albion get a penalty. Now, I've had the liberty of obviously watching this at home and seeing the replay, and I'll just explain to you what I've seen, and you could just share what you saw live at Craven Cottage. What I witnessed, and again, I didn't see it at first when they showed the replay and we were told that the play was under review for a possible penalty. I got nervous, and then when they show it, all I can tell you is that Bobby Decordova-Reid had no idea that the player was behind him. No idea. This was incidental contact, but he did hit him. In my mind, it is a penalty. It probably was the right call. I hate to say it. But what were your thoughts when you heard the news at Craven Cottage?
Yeah, I think, because I think we're still gloating the 2-0 win. I think obviously the incident happened,
Clean sheet
continued. And then next moment, we just saw the news, the flash on the screen to say, look, there's a VAR looking at a possible penalty decision. And the thing, I'm no expert on the VAR rules and all that, but it's
right.
My understanding is, and quote me if I'm wrong, people are listening, is if it's not a clear and obvious decision, you don't give it. And the fact is, you've got many experts watching replays, every different angle, and still do not have the ability to make a decision. What does a referee do that the other guys can't? That's what I'm a little bit confused with this law. So yes, some go our way, some don't go our way. And if you're saying it was a penalty, it looked harsh. I only saw it briefly.
It is harsh, Emilio. Let me just say,
harsh.
It's harsh on Bobby Decordova-Reid because he had no idea.
And if the rules say it's contact, whether he's incidental and not looking, but if the rules say that that's a penalty. But what I don't understand is why didn't the VAR give that immediately rather than asking the referee to go and do his independent review? That's why I'm a little bit lost, because it's either it's clear cut or it's not clear cut.
Right.
The fact it's gone to a referee to watch the replay himself tells me the experts weren't decided whether it was a penalty or not. And then they scored from it, took the momentum, swung the momentum right back to Brighton. I thought at that
It
point,
changed the
here
match,
we go again.
obviously.
Can we hold on to a lead? Can we hold
Right.
it? How many times we've taken the lead this season and not held on or not won the game? So those nerves were starting to kick in again. So it's they had the momentum. Just they had half an hour still to play, and if anyone you thought was going to win the game, it was going to be Brighton. But fair play to Fulham. You know, we dug out a very impressive half an hour of defence and still created opportunities as well. Let's not forget we still created 2 opportunities.
Oh, I'm going to talk
maybe
about
we should have
that
done better.
just a second.
Cabano and Bobby Reed.
Yep, we're going to talk about that right now. Craig, I want to get your thoughts. I'm glad that Emilio just led us there because the opportunities from Cabano, it was an open net, Craig. I know it was a difficult shot. It was difficult if you look back at it, but it's an open net. He had the opportunity. Boy, if they score there, and then a little bit later, you have Bobby Decordova-Reid's shot. It's just a wonderful opportunity. This is another missed opportunity. I'm thinking this is going to come back to Fulham to bite them. What are your thoughts about these 2 opportunities?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think Cabano's opportunity arose from the mistake by the Brighton goalkeeper Sanchez, which was a real shocker.
Yeah.
But I think he had to snatch at the ball because he wasn't going to be given the time for another touch, and so he kind of had to sort of turn and kick it. I thought Bobby Decordova-Reid had a really good opportunity.
So do I.
Better. But I think it's one of the issues we have with the team, and that is that we need another forward to
totally agree, Craig. Totally agree. This is a
me
good
too.
reason.
You know,
to
Cabano
really show.
and Bobby Decordova-Reid don't always, especially Cabano, they don't always have the end product that I think is necessary at this level.
I agree.
And you know, without Harry Wilson, I think it's we're asking too much of Mitrovic in a lot of these situations.
And you're asking a lot of 2 players that, let's be honest, they are giving you everything that they have, Craig. But are they really Premier League starters? I think you would agree that they're not, but they're giving you everything that they have.
And their effort and their work rate is without doubt impressive, and they're good players, but they don't have the end product that we're going to need over the course of the season. So we do need to have another forward who can maybe create. Actually, it would be great to bring back Ryan Sessegnon and have him as a winger.
Wow, there's a name, Ryan Sessegnon. Don't get me started on him. I got on a show in Maine, and the supporter who was actually one of the hosts is a Tottenham fan, and he was asking me why I won't pick them to win the league, and I said it's because of Ryan Sessegnon. I can't do it because of Ryan Sessegnon. I won't do it until you stop playing Ryan Sessegnon all the time. That was just my little pet peeve with him. But anyways, coming up next, guys, to finish the show, we're going to talk about how Fulham ended the match, which I think was very impressive, and who we believe was man of the match. Okay, Emilio, I'm going to go to both you and Craig because we talked about this at the beginning of the show. This, to me, is the most impressive part of this match, just my opinion. How Fulham ended this match, how they managed the ending. One thing I do want to mention for people that have not seen this, Brighton were way offside. Let's just start there. They got this so wrong, guys. Brighton were way off. It wasn't even close. So that made a situation where if they scored, obviously would have gone to VAR review, but still, this is something that did not need to happen. Way offside, not even close. So I just want to start there. Emilio, give me your thoughts on how Fulham ended this match.
We didn't panic at times. I think there's a tendency, maybe you're 2-1 up, desperate for that victory, and the natural tendency is hoof the ball away, panic, stations kick in. But I thought we looked controlled. We right in front of me in the corner, we were obviously trying to pass our way out of trouble. Trying to keep possession, create those throw-ins, waste 20 seconds here and there, get the couple corners here and there. So then we're running down the clock. But I didn't see the panic setting in, because normally when you're fighting for dear life, especially it felt like a cup game towards the end, didn't it, Craig? Last 10 minutes, you're trying to win an FA Cup game, and you'll do anything just to keep possession and kick the ball out of play. But I thought we looked controlled. We didn't look in danger, to be honest. I thought Brighton, although we're pushing and huffing and puffing, I actually thought we knocked the stuffing out of them. I think they lost belief. You saw Lewis Dunk, lambasting the referee a couple of times because the decisions weren't going his way. Mitrovic was giving him problems in that last 10 minutes. Kenny was holding the ball in front of me. And overall, I thought we looked controlled. The clock took ages to run down, admittedly. 6 minutes felt more like 10 minutes. But overall, I didn't think we panicked. And the referee, I want to give a shout out to him. What an idiot. This apparently was his first ever game in the Premier League. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. I'm not being biased. You know how unbiased I am.
You're very honest when it comes to this.
We never got half the decision we expected. Reed got a yellow card. Lewis Dunk does a similar foul. No yellow card. There was a retaliation on Tom Kearney when he got fouled. Yeah. Where was the yellow card for that? Nothing. Just a gentle word in the guy's ear. So referee was appalling tonight, but then ultimately we did enough to win the game. But I think we deserved the victory, and I just felt like I said, we didn't panic. I don't know what you thought, Craig. Do you agree?
Look, I thought we showed great gamesmanship at the end of the match. We killed it off in the last 10 minutes. I particularly was impressed with Kearney, the way he controls that possession. It reminds me of other games where he was the guy who could kill off the game. One game that I remember very clearly is the Sheffield United away match in 2017, I think it was, the famous 5-4 match. Where the game was starting to slip away from us, and Kearney just basically made sure he got the ball at his feet and killed it off. So I thought it showed a sign of maturity and a winning mentality within the team. We had the confidence to play in the corners, to mess around with it. And of course, Mitro, at times, he would just hold up the ball. I mean, he's such a pro in these sorts of situations. So kudos to the team. We haven't seen that kind of poise very often.
No, we haven't, guys. I just want to share a comment. This is from Sean Kenny. We have a good amount of comments. And thank you, everyone watching live. We have a huge live audience. So thank you, everyone that is watching Cottage Talk right now. Sean Kenny says, just a reminder, season 2020-2021, after 5 games, 1.8 points right now, guys. That is huge. That is massive. So thank you, Sean, for sharing that. Let's now go to man of the match. I'm just going to share some people sharing man of the match. We have Karen Owens saying BDR man of the match. I'll go to you, Craig. If you're watching live, feel free to share your man of the match. Who was your man of the match?
No question. Alexander Mitrovic.
Alexander Mitrovic.
Mitro's on fire. Your defense is terrified. Mitro's on fire. Listen, he was everywhere. And just the work rate, the passion, the commitment. It's not just that he scores goals, and I think
so much more now, Craig. So much more.
He is the complete leader, and he was dribbling past players. He for me is easily the man of the match.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent stuff. All right, I'm going to share some other comments of man of the match before I go to you, Mr. Shadow, Mr. Fulham Shadow, Chris Goodwin, our Liverpool supporter friend here. Man of the match, Paulinho Mitro, a very close second. Interesting. Dave Cronin, he says Mitro. So we have some comments for Mitro. Let's see. Dean here says Mitro's on fire. All right, Mitro. I'm calling you Mitro. There, Emilio.
The Shadow's on fire.
Is he on fire? Are you on fire?
Yeah, the Shadow's always on fire. Yeah, I think for me, it's very conclusive. I think it was Mitrovic was by far the best man, scored the goal, involved in the second, defended throughout, won a lot of free kicks, caused Brighton problems, frustrated their defense. And exactly, he was just, basically he was everywhere tonight. So, it was pretty conclusive. The other call outs for me, I thought, let's not forget Leno made an important save at 2-1.
Yes, I forgot to mention his save.
So that's an important save there. Good save. He's looking commanding in front of the goal there. So that's encouraging. But overall, I thought Robinson had a good first half. Had to defend more in the second half. But I think Robinson's had a particularly good start to the season. He's had a lot of critics in the past, but I think he started impressively this year. So Harrison Reed again does what he does best. Worked very hard, very well. And Paulinho is just growing into a key position for us. And my worry is who's his backup. So again, I'm expecting 2 or 3 more signings before the close of the transfer window.
I think we might have more than that. We'll see. I think we
hopefully
might have
maybe even more. Yeah, we could potentially left back from PSG tomorrow.
Yep.
Willian sounds like it's a done deal. Is that right?
That's what I'm hearing, and I'm hearing a potential another signing from Roma. Clivert, again, we're
Yeah.
hearing reports that is potentially going to happen, and we're hearing some speculation of maybe another signing or two. I wanted 5, Emilio. I'll
Yeah.
be happy with 3 or 4, but I would be thrilled with 5. We'll see. We'll see if I end up being right, but I just want to share this comment because I mentioned this earlier. This is from Sean Kenny Mitro, dedicated his performance to Scott Parker. I love that. Now let's go back to Dave Cronin saying Leno, classy signing. Over to you, Craig. I want to get your thoughts on Leno. Nothing against Marek Rodak. I do see a difference here.
Look, Leno is clearly a Premiership caliber goalkeeper. His distribution is good. His decision making is good. He's pretty good on the ball. He's more than just a shot blocker. I think Marek Rodak is an outstanding shot blocker, but some of the other areas of his game were, I think, a little bit short of the standard that is required in the Premiership. The defense seems settled.
Yep.
And it gives a lot of confidence. I still think, we probably do have some issues with our center backs,
Right.
but when they know they've got a strong goalkeeper behind them, it makes all the difference in the world.
It does. And I want to mention this, and again, where was the comment? Dave Cronin I just went off of. He's wanted to mention Tim Ream, another solid performance. Emilio, your thoughts?
Yeah, Tim Ream was immense again in defence. He's doing nothing wrong. He gets out of position occasionally, but 35-year-old man captaining the team. Everyone wrote him off this season. We just thought he would just be playing a motivational man motivator in the dressing room. But look, he started every game this season, and fair play to him. He looked immense again, and his maturity, his experience is what we need. And Tosin, if not, I don't know if you're noticing, is growing in maturity and confidence as well. Victories give you confidence, but when you're defensive, you're looking a lot more organised and disciplined, and not likely to be thumped every game. Then again, that's just we've got some positive weeks coming. I know we've got 2 tough games coming up, but why can't we go to Tottenham and give them a run for their money like we did Arsenal last
Why
weekend?
not, Emilio?
Why not?
I'm glad that you said that. The attitude right now should be they should fear no one because they've gone up against some real quality sides, and they've showed that really, not that they don't respect these clubs, but they're not given too much respect. They are, I want to say, respecting themselves that they can play with anyone out there. And why can't they go to Tottenham Hotspur and get something from it? I'm going to say that right now. Why not? They should have the confidence that they can play with these sides, and they're showing it. I do want to just mention one last comment. This is from our friend Chris, because I want to talk a little bit about this. Asking, do you fear clubs might look at Mitro for a January signing if he keeps scoring goals? The answer is no, Chris. I'm going to explain why. Mitro loves Fulham Football Club. He settled at Fulham Football Club. I'm telling you, 1, Fulham wouldn't sell him at this point. 2, I don't think he has any desire to leave. I really don't. And I think it's just proven to the point when I tell people this, like, oh, come on, everyone has their price. Everyone wants to play at a bigger club. I'm telling you, I think Mitro wants to stay at Fulham and be a Fulham legend for life. So I don't see that happening. Would you agree with me, Emilio?
Yeah, absolutely. It's at the end of the day, he's loved by all the Fulham faithful around the world. Why would he leave Fulham Football Club? And at the end of the day, we're doing well so far. Just 5 games in, 8 points on the board. Let's continue the momentum.
It's a fair question, though, from someone that doesn't follow Fulham. It's a fair question. And Chris watches all of our shows, and normally people would think, why wouldn't another club come in? But I'm telling you, I'm very confident that he's going nowhere.
If he wanted to leave, he would have gone by now. As far
Exactly.
As he's had plenty of opportunities in his last 2 or 3 years. You could argue he could have left when we got relegated a couple.
He had his chances to go.
He didn't. So for
he
me,
also doesn't fit in the systems of many of the other teams.
Exactly. That's a good point.
I think what he realizes, perhaps, is that he will not be nearly as effective in a different system. And he learned that the hard way under Scott Parker.
Yeah.
And the system that Silva has developed is ideally suited to Mitro. So he can move to another club, a bigger club, but then he may find that he won't be starting, or he won't be doing all that well.
Yep. Listen, we need to wrap up this show. And again, major thank you. Very late night for Craig and Emilio. Emilio, final thoughts before we wrap this up.
Look, still lost my voice, as you can tell, but overall, fantastic atmosphere at the Cottage. great to be there tonight. And the fact that we know we've got 8 points on the board, this is great. I'm looking forward to going to Tottenham away on Saturday. So fingers crossed we can give them a good old battering. And we've got Chelsea the weekend after next. Again, they're not looking too great either. So
no,
we have nothing to fear. So Carol,
nothing to
very proud
fear,
of the
my
boys.
friend.
Keep up the great work, Marco Silva and team. Hope you'll get some signings in the next 2 or 3 days and make your selection more challenging, because then our bench does look a little bit light at the moment.
It does.
So we need it urgently. So Tony Khan, if you're watching, sign those checks. Alison McIntosh, go ahead, make these transfers for goodness sake.
Do it now. Do it now. I
Why
agree,
are you
Emilio.
waiting,
Do it
Why
right
are you
now.
waiting?
This is a great opportunity. Get these players in. I don't care that it's at the end of the window. Make a splash. Do it now. Craig, final thoughts before we go. We got to wrap this up.
Magical evening at the Cottage. Really important victory against a very good side. Still some work to be done.
I agree with that. All right. Well, it's time to wrap up the show. For the Fulham Shadow, Emilio Nello and Craig Coben, I'm Russ Coleman. Thank you as always for watching and listening to Cottage Talk.